My work rival dragged me to her family's 4th of July barbecue, then introduced me as her boyfriend. I thought my biggest problem that Friday was going to be surviving another meeting with Claire Donovan. Instead, by noon, she had grabbed my wrist in front of the entire office, looked me straight in the eyes, and said, "You're coming with me." I laughed. She didn't. 30 minutes later, I was sitting in the passenger seat of her truck, heading toward her family's 4th of July barbecue, while wondering whether I'd finally lost my mind. Then she smiled, a smile I'd never seen before, and casually said, "One more thing. When we get there, you're my boyfriend." I honestly believed it was the craziest sentence I'd ever hear. I had no idea it was only the beginning. For 2 years, Claire and I had competed over everything. We worked for the same architecture firm in Denver, and somehow every important project ended with both of us fighting for it. If I finished a design first, she'd improve it. If she impressed the boss, I'd stay late until I found something better. We weren't enemies exactly, but we definitely weren't friends. The office even had a betting pool over who would become senior project manager first. Our coworkers called us the twins. Not because we looked alike, because every conversation between us sounded like an argument. "You missed the budget notes." "I didn't. You opened the wrong file." "You moved the folder." "I organized the folder." "You reorganized it wrong." It never ended. So when she marched into my office, carrying a container of potato salad, and told me I had to help her, I assumed she was joking. She wasn't. "My cousin canceled," she explained while checking her phone. My sympathy. "My family already thinks I have a boyfriend." "Congratulations? I told them about you." I nearly fell out of my chair. "You what? They've never met you." "Claire." It was easier than explaining why I'm 32 and still single. "You could have invented literally anyone else." "I did." She looked completely serious. "Then they found your picture on the company website." I stared at her. She sighed. "My grandmother has internet." I rubbed my face. "This isn't my problem." "It becomes your problem if I tell Mr. Collins you accidentally deleted the presentation." I restored it. "Exactly." She folded her arms. "I need 6 hours." "You are blackmailing me?" "I'm negotiating." "You are impossible." "I've heard that before." I should have said no. Every reasonable part of my brain screams no, but something about the tiny hint of panic hiding behind her confident expression made me hesitate. This wasn't office Claire. This was someone genuinely desperate. Against my better judgment, I agreed. The drive took almost an hour. For the first 20 minutes, neither of us spoke. Finally, I broke the silence. "What exactly have you told them?" She looked out the window. "That we've been dating for 8 months. I nearly swerved. 8 months? Keep your eyes on the road. This is your truck. Exactly. I groaned. What else? She counted on her fingers. You love dogs. I do. You cook. I can make grilled cheese. Good enough. You propose taking me hiking on our 3rd date. I hate hiking. You don't today. I sighed dramatically. I'm going to prison. She laughed. The sound surprised me. At work, Claire rarely laughed. She smiled when she won. She smirked when I lost. But this laugh was warm. For a moment, she didn't seem like my rival. She just seemed human. By the time we reached her parents' house, cars lined both sides of the street. Children ran across the yard, waving tiny American flags. Music played from old speakers. Someone was grilling burgers. Someone else was lighting fireworks, even though it was still afternoon. Claire took a deep breath. "You ready?" "No." She opened my door anyway. The second we stepped into the backyard, chaos exploded. "Claire!" People came from every direction. Hugs, questions, laughter. Then an older woman with silver hair hurried toward us. Claire squeezed my hand. "This is my grandma." Before I could react, Claire smiled brightly. "Grandma, this is Ethan." She looked directly at me. "My boyfriend." Her grandmother gasped. "Oh, finally." She hugged me so tightly, my ribs complained. "You are much cuter than your pictures." "Thank you." The next 2 hours were a blur. I shook at least 30 hands. I learned everyone's names twice, because I forgot them immediately. Claire's father challenged me to cornhole. Her uncle insisted I try homemade ribs. Her little niece demanded I help build a water balloon fortress. Somehow, I started enjoying myself. Claire's family argued loudly, laughed constantly, and treated strangers like old friends. It felt comfortable. Very different from the quiet apartment I'd gone home to every night since my parents passed away 3 years earlier. At one point, Claire handed me lemonade. "You've survived." "Barely." "They like you. They're terrifying." She laughed again. "You fit in." Before I could answer, a voice interrupted us. A tall man wearing sunglasses walked over. "This is Ethan." Claire's smile faded. "Ryan." Something changed instantly. The warmth disappeared from her face. Ryan extended his hand. "So you're the famous boyfriend." I shook it. "Nice to meet you." His grip tightened. "Funny." "What is?" "Claire never mentioned you until after I asked her to get back together." Silence. I looked at Claire. She looked away. Ryan smiled without humor. "I guess she moved on quickly." Claire answered coldly. "I moved on years ago." He shrugged. "Whatever helps you sleep." Then he walked away. I turned toward her. "Ex-boyfriend?" She nodded. "The reason for all this?" Another nod. "My family kept hoping we'd reconcile. And you invented me." I needed them to stop asking. I finally understood. This wasn't about impressing anyone. It was about escaping a chapter she never wanted to reopen. For the first time, I didn't feel annoyed. I felt sorry for her. Later that evening, fireworks began. Kids chased sparklers across the lawn. Everyone spread blankets over the grass. Claire sat beside me. Neither of us spoke. The sky exploded with red and blue light. Finally she whispered, "I'm sorry." "For what?" "For dragging you into this." I looked toward her family laughing together. "It wasn't terrible." She smiled softly. "My grandma already loves you more than me. I think your dad wants me on his softball team." "He does." We both laughed. Then she grew quiet again. "You know, work would be easier if we stopped trying to destroy each other." "I don't try to destroy you." "You absolutely do." "I challenge you. You steal my ideas." "I improve your ideas." She rolled her eyes. "There it is." I hesitated. "I've always respected you." She looked genuinely surprised. "You have? You're the hardest working person in that office." She stared at the fireworks. "I always thought you looked down on me." "What?" "You never smiled." "I smile." "Not at work." I thought about it. She was right. Work had become a competition. Somewhere along the way we'd stopped seeing each other as people. Instead, we only saw obstacles. A loud boom echoed overhead. Claire quietly said, "I don't actually hate you." "I know." "You do?" "I figured if you hated me, you would have chosen someone less annoying." She laughed so hard, she nearly spilled her drink. It felt strangely nice being the reason. The evening should have ended there. Instead, Ryan returned. This time he wasn't alone. He walked over with 2 of Claire's cousins. "So Ethan," he asked loudly, "tell us about your first date." My heart stopped. Claire looked nervous. "Third date. Hiking. But first date?" "We'd never discussed it." Ryan folded his arms. "Well?" Every eye turned toward me. I looked at Claire. She looked terrified. Then I smiled. "Our first date almost never happened." Ryan frowned. "I was 20 minutes late." Claire blinked. I continued, She was furious. I was? You absolutely were. People laughed. So I bought the biggest slice of chocolate cake I could find. Claire caught on. And you spilled coffee on yourself. I did. You apologized 5 times. I was desperate. Her cousins laughed louder. Ryan forced a smile. And then? I looked at Claire. Then she laughed. And that's when I realized. I paused. I'd rather spend time arguing with her than agreeing with anyone else. The backyard became quiet. Claire looked at me with wide eyes. Even I almost believed the story. Ryan muttered something under his breath and walked away. The tension disappeared. Claire leaned close enough that only I could hear. That was impressive. I improvise under pressure. You also made me sound nice. I was feeling generous. She nudged my shoulder. The touch lingered longer than either of us expected. When the party finally ended, we helped clean the yard. Her grandmother hugged me again. You'd better take care of my granddaughter. I smiled awkwardly. I'll do my best. As we walked back toward the truck, Claire became unusually quiet. Halfway home, she finally spoke. You know, you didn't have to save me back there. I know. Why did you? I watched the empty highway ahead. Because nobody deserves to be embarrassed in front of their family. She nodded slowly. Thank you. Monday morning, everything returned to normal. Or at least, it tried to. I reached the office carrying coffee. Claire was already there. She looked at me. I looked at her. For the first time in 2 years, neither of us argued. Instead, she smiled. Morning. Morning. 3 people in the office dropped their pens. Over the next few weeks, something unexpected happened. We still competed, but now we'd also help each other. She caught mistakes before clients saw them. I stayed late to help finish one of her deadlines. Our coworkers were completely confused. One afternoon, Mr. Collins called us into his office. I've decided the new Civic Center project needs 2 leaders. Claire and I exchanged glances. You want us together? He nodded. You spend so much energy competing that I realized something. What? You make each other better. For once, neither of us argued. Months passed. Working together became surprisingly easy. One evening, we finished a presentation after everyone else had gone home. As we packed our bags, Claire asked, My parents are having another barbecue next month. Oh? They asked if you were coming. I smiled. As your fake boyfriend? She looked at the floor. I was actually wondering. She took a slow breath. Is maybe this time you could come as someone who's taking me on an actual date? I stared at her. The woman who had challenged every idea I'd ever presented did it. Who had driven me crazy for 2 years. Who had dragged me across the state for a fake relationship. Was suddenly waiting nervously for my answer. I couldn't help smiling. So, no fake hiking stories? She laughed. No fake stories. Good. I stepped closer, because I'd rather make real ones. Her smile grew wider than I'd ever seen. I was hoping you'd say that. A month later, we returned to her parents' backyard. This time, no introductions were necessary. Her grandmother saw us holding hands and simply smiled. I knew it. Claire looked at me. You told her? I didn't have to. Her grandmother winked. Sometimes old people can tell the difference between pretending and being pretended. And 2 stubborn fools falling in love. Claire squeezed my hand. I squeezed hers back. Looking around the yard filled with laughter, fireworks, and the people who had unknowingly changed both our lives, I realized something unexpected. The biggest rivalry of my career hadn't ended with one of us winning. It had ended because 2 people finally stopped fighting long enough to see what had been there all along. And every 4th of July after that, Whenever someone asked how we met, Claire would grin before I could answer. Then she'd say, he came to one family barbecue as my fake boyfriend. I'd finish the story with a smile. And somehow, never left.